Marc Levin here. The post-election economy could be a minefield of inflation, massive debt, and currency instability. That's why I count on gold for my financial protection. When it comes to gold, I only trust Advantage Gold. They're one of the top gold companies in America, and that's who I turn to for my own investments. Call them now, 800-900-8000, for a free gold investment kit, and see if you qualify for $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Don't wait and see if post-election chaos destroys your savings. Act preemptively. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Marc Levin.
Marc Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. It's amazing. I did 2 shows over the weekend, Life, Liberty, and Levin, Saturday and Sunday night. I want to thank you all who watched and recorded it. Pushing back on this whole Nazi thing in 1939, exposing the Democrat Party is really the party of the neo-Nazis. Yeah. Tlaib, Omar, AOC, and their ilk. Not to mention scores of others. Not to mention the policies and the statements, the blood libels from Kamala Harris and her ilk. And it's amazing because I'll watch people I know on TV who will cite other networks, who will cite the radical kooks on other networks. It's as if I never did the shows. Now, millions of you will have watched it. Millions of you will understand what I'm talking about. But why give voice to people who are reprobates, who are horrendous, who are of a party that has demonstrated itself to be what it is? Now, this so-called comedian who was at the rally on Sunday, I don't know who it is. I didn't hear a thing he said. Fox didn't run what he said. And then when it's all over, I keep reading about this comedian and the things he said about Puerto Ricans and so forth. I don't know this a-hole. None of you know who this a-hole is. Nobody in that concert room, in the Madison Square Garden, knew who this guy was. As if they're there because they want to hear from this guy. As if they're there because they want to hear his stupid jokes. Well, I mean, the Trump people had him. A lot of times you have people, you're not sure what the hell's going to come out of their mouths. You just don't. I mean, we have a network like MSNBC that hires Al Sharpton. We know what Al Sharpton said. We know what he is. We know his history. He's a host. An actual host. There have been others on MSNBC and CNN who've said the most horrific things. They're not even comedians. Now, this isn't an excuse, but that event that took place in Madison Square Garden had nothing to do with this comedian or his views or anything else. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump made it abundantly clear he wants to appeal to every segment of our society. That's what he said, but that's not been repeated. And we also know, you and I and any thinking American, that the media are not objective. They're not nonpartisan. They're there waiting to jump. They're waiting to jump on any woman who makes an accusation, or any man for that matter, except, of course, when it comes to Dougie Emhoff. No, nothing there. Here's what Trump did say yesterday. 30-second clip. That's all the media had to run, but they couldn't. They had their comedian. who nobody's ever heard of before. Cut 11, go.
So Jews and Muslims and Catholics and evangelicals and Mormons, and they're all joining our cause in large numbers, larger than anyone has ever seen in this country before, larger than they've ever seen in any country. And the Republican Party has really become the party of inclusion, and that's something very nice about that. And we're a big, powerful party, and they're losing it.
Now, that's what came out of Trump's mouth, identifiable to Trump himself, personally. And that got no attention on MSLSD. That got no attention on the Constipated News Network. Nothing. Nothing. The Democrat Party, the party of anti-Semitism and bigotry, racism and segregation, Jim Crow, that party, just looking for any excuse. They found a comedian who nobody heard. I didn't hear him. Did you? Did you hear him, Mr. Producer? Who the hell is he? Nobody's ever heard of him. Well, he was there. Excuse me. Trump was there, too, and he said what he said. And he said what he said. He didn't spew any blood libels like Kamala Harris blaming the Jews in Israel for killing 40,000 Hamasians, when in fact that in and of itself is a lie. When in fact we all have access to what the Hamas leader, one of the ones who hasn't been taken out yet, unfortunately, said 80% of the deaths in Gaza were in fact Hamas terrorists and their family members. No, none of that. In fact, the media spew these blood libels against the Jews. That's what they do. And that's what they've done. And that's not a comedian. That's Kamala Harris. Pretty sickening, don't you think? Country's going to descend into fascism. That's the genius that Mika Brzezinski is. Kamala Harris on CBS Sunday Morning defends her rhetoric that Trump is a fascist. You want to know why there's people trying to assassinate Donald Trump? Listen to their media. Listen to Kamala Harris. Listen to Biden. Michelle Obama is screaming that Trump should never be president again. She's screaming. She's screaming. Are we ready for the moment for Kamala to be president? No, I'm not. I'm not ready for it now or ever. Kamala Harris tells Shannon Sharp, Trump's going to take away your First and Second Amendment. Well, where the hell was Shannon Sharp? Let's listen to this, as a matter of fact. I love First Take. I don't think I watched as much as I'd like to, but when I've been sort of bedbound early on during this accident, I watched it a lot. I like Stephen A. a lot. I thought I liked Shannon Sharp, but we'll see. Cut 6, go.
Your Fifth Amendment right, your Sixth Amendment right to an attorney.
Well, a lot of rights going to be gone. The First Amendment.
But the First Amendment.
Well, that's so stupid. They're the ones attacking free speech. They're the ones attacking people who dare to speak out at abortion clinics. They're the ones who put out a memo telling federal law enforcement to monitor, interview, charge parents who dare to raise questions at school board meetings. It's amazing. They're the ones monitoring social media, trying to set up a disinformation board at DHS. Shannon Sharp, don't you know what the hell you're talking about? I mean, at least Stephen A. really looks into this stuff. You don't look into crap. Oh, they're going to take all your rights away. Yeah. Don't you know, I would support somebody for president who's going to take all your rights away. Kamala Harris, she sounds like me, stealing what I say, Mr. Producer, and then spewing it out on her own behalf. First Amendment, Second Amendment, Sixth Amendment. Go ahead.
Second Amendment. Yes. Look, I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I don't believe we should be taking anybody's guns away.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. When you were DA, when you were Attorney General of California, when you were a senator wanting to be president, you talked about it all the damn time. Go ahead.
To terminate the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, he wants to terminate the Constitution of the United States. You're the one who wants to eliminate the Electoral College. You're the one who wants to pack the Supreme Court, which would be deadly to the country. You're the one who supports student loan forgiveness, despite the fact the Supreme Court said you don't have that power. That belongs to Congress. They have the power of the purse. You're the one who trashes the men who wrote the Constitution and trashes the men who ratified the Constitution. Whatever happened to all your CRT comments? Whatever happened to your support to 1619? Why are you so silent about that now, Kamala? The Constitution. They're always looking for ways around it. They want to put in the eliminate the filibuster rule so they can ram through everything they want. 4 new Democrat senators out of D.C. and Puerto Rico, and she dares to speak up for the Constitution. All of a sudden, the men who wrote it are angels. They're not slave-owning white supremacists. All of a sudden, they love the Bill of Rights, except when they don't. She's not to be trusted. She's a pathological liar. And Shannon Sharp, you need to wake the hell up. You need to wake the hell up. You're a nice enough guy. Inform yourself, damn it. Inform yourself. Because all these things that they plan to do are going to affect all of us. Tell me, Shannon Sharp, what exactly did Donald Trump do in his first 4 years to harm the Constitution? Free speech, freedom of association. What did he do? The right to bear arms. Second, what did he do? What did he do? Warrants based on probable cause. That's right. Equal protection, due process. What did he do to damage any of this stuff? Nothing. He did more to help the black community, both in economic programs and criminal justice reform that have been demanded for so many decades. School choice. Tell me, what has Kamala Harris done for the black community, Shannon? Shannon, I'm talking to you. Wake up. What have you done? What did she do? Nothing. She never lifted a damn finger, not as DA, not as attorney general, not as a senator, not as a vice president. And what's her proposal now? Oh, I'll give $1 million to this, which is unconstitutional, $50,000 for that, $25,000 for that. And by the way, young black men, don't worry, you'll get all the pot you want. Oh, okay. You know what that is? That's a racist. But Shannon sat there like a bump on a log. Painful, embarrassing, pathetic. More when I return. I'll be right back.
Marc Levin.
The upcoming election isn't just about choosing leaders. It's about bracing for the economic fallout that could follow. You know, history shows that post-election periods can bring economic turmoil. But this time, with our national debt skyrocketing and global tensions rising, we could be facing unprecedented risks. We could see runaway inflation or even a currency crisis. That's why I encourage people to diversify and look at gold as a financial safety net. Gold has been said to be a reliable wealth shield for thousands of years through some of the worst economic storms. And for my gold investments, I trust Advantage Gold. They're who I buy from exclusively, and I recommend them to anyone serious about helping to protect their wealth. You can call them right now at 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000 for a free gold investment kit to see how you can get started with gold. You can even qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. Tell them Marc Levin sent you. You'll be happy you did. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. So you have this nobody comedian who nobody's ever heard of. All those people who went into Madison Square Garden, they're there for one person. They're not even there for all the others. They're there for Trump. And they want to hear what he had to say. And he gave a beautiful speech. It was a focus speech. A historic speech. Talking about uniting the country, who he wants under the umbrella of the Republican Party, and going on and on about it. Very specific. And they focus on this comedian. Why? Because they hate Trump. They hate you. They want to create a narrative. Now, this guy's an a-hole. I don't know anything about him. The things he said, doesn't he know where he is? Doesn't he know how that reflects on the president and his campaign? The campaign has fully distanced itself from him. Okay, great. Guy was probably recommended to him. There's some reports that he was recommended by Rogan. I have no idea. I don't even care. But none of that came out of Trump's mouth. When you have an actual candidate for president, Kamala Harris, who accuses the Jewish state of Israel of being a genocidal state, a blood libel against Jews, that's as ancient as Judaism itself, Tell me, did Mika Brzezinski say a damn thing about it? How about Joe Scarborough? Did Jake Tapper say anything about it? How about Dana Bash? They're both Jewish. How about Wolf Blitzer? He's Jewish, too. Did he say anything? Not a word. Nothing. How about the conga line of freaks, fools, and phonies on MSNBC? Did they say anything? No. Nothing? No. Not a word. How about the hand-wringing Democrats and all their little surrogates on cable TV? Did they say anything about it? Not a word. Kamala makes this blood libel against the Jews about them committing genocide. She agrees with somebody in the audience. And she's got a history of this. She actually supports Tlaib's reelection, Omar's reelection, AOC's reelection. These are the neo-Nazis of our time. Does anyone call her out except me? No. No, nobody. Even friends and foes alike, they don't call them out. Joe Biden was a racist segregationist for at least a decade early in his career. But the word about this comedian, this jackass who spews off, nobody's ever heard of before, says he's outrageous thing. But Joe Biden, they backed him for president, and he became president of the United States. No problem with that, right, media? Right, media-ite? For God's sakes, what a stupid name. Stupid people with a stupid founder. Man, oh, Manischewitz. And these names they're using against Trump, let me be clear about this. When you keep calling Trump a fascist, a dictator, and Hitler, when you keep saying Trump wants to destroy the Constitution, including your First Amendment rights and all the rest of it, when you keep dialing it up, knowing full well there have been 2 assassination attempts, knowing full well there's a lot of nuts out there, I think you want him to be taken out. Otherwise, why would you do this? Why would you say these outrageous things about the man? You can challenge him on policy, fine. You can question the way he speaks, fine. But the idea that he's Hitler, which means he's going to round up millions of Jews, put them in gas chambers, burn them in ovens, shoot them en masse, and then dig mass graves. The idea is so ridiculous and sickening, particularly to Jews who know their own history, particularly to Holocaust survivors, of which there are fewer and fewer. Where's the Anti-Defamation League? Where's all these liberal Jewish organizations? Why aren't they objecting to this? No. We're going to focus on this comedian who's not running for a damn thing. He's a reprobate. Nobody knows who the hell he is. Says these stupid-ass things. Got it. Okay, fine. Terrible. This is our media. This is our media. I hope you people were able to watch Life, Liberty, and Levin. The reason I tell you to record it is because I know all these football games are going on and 1,000 other things. I know that. Mika Brzezinski, if Trump wins, the nation will descend into fascism. Kamala Harris defends her rhetoric calling Trump a fascist. Listen to John Kelly. What an idiot that guy is. You see what he did when he was chief of staff? Did you see how he conducted himself? Power hungry in a very sick way. Yes. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, the twosome, they're out there doing the same damn thing. We've got Dan Goldman, one of the biggest, pathetic, poisonous pukes ever to walk the face of any political earth. Floats the theory that Trump and Mike Johnson have a secret plan to overturn the election. AOC, one of the biggest lowlives there possibly could be. Trump's rally, it's a rally of hate, a mini January 6th. Tim Walz in Nevada. Trump's Madison Square Garden rally, just like the Nazis. Do you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, these people know the potential their rhetoric has for other assassination attempts on Trump? Do you think they care? I don't think they care. In their heart of hearts, I don't think they care at all if Donald Trump is taken out. I'll be right back. Folks, we may be standing on the precipice of a post-election economic meltdown. Any election can send shockwaves through our financial system, but this time, the stakes could be higher than ever. Reckless spending, mounting debt, misguided policies has set the stage for potential economic disaster. We can see rapid inflation or even attempts to undermine our currency. That's why I've always relied on diversification and gold for protection. It's been said to be a timeless safeguard against economic chaos, and in these uncertain times, it's more crucial than ever. When it comes to gold, I trust Advantage Gold exclusively. They're one of the top gold companies in America, and they're who I turn to for my own investments. Call 800-900-8000 right now for a free gold investment kit to see how gold can help protect you from post-election chaos. You might even qualify for $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000. Tell them Marc Levin sent you. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
This is the nation's town hall meeting, and you can join in at 877-381-3811.
Sanders and AOC are going to be campaigning for Harris Walz in Wisconsin. They're going to go to Madison, the most radical areas of Wisconsin. So you have them, and she picks this guy, Tim Walz, as a running mate. These are the three most Marxist, Islamist politicians in America. Sanders, Walz, AOC. I look at things very simply. Sometimes we go deep, and it's very, very important. But let's look at it this way. To people in my audience who are black, let me ask you a question. What has Kamala Harris ever done for the African-American community in this country? What about in education, economics, civil rights? Can you name one thing? Just one? That's why she's not campaigning on it. She has nothing to campaign on. She's a blank slate. What has Kamala Harris ever done for the Hispanic community in this country, other than brutalize it with open borders? Nothing. Despite the fact she was DA in California, Attorney General in California, a senator. California's a huge Hispanic audience. And now Vice President. What exactly has she done for the Hispanic community? Nothing. Zero. What has she done for the Asian community? Nothing. Zero. What has she done for the Jewish community? The question there is, what has she done to the Jewish community? She's done nothing. Except undermine its security here at home. Undermine the Holy Land for Jews and Christians alike. She has surrounded herself with Islamists, with neo-Nazis, if you will. So she's done nothing. Now, let's talk more broadly, because there's other races, like the white race and so forth, but let's just talk about Americans. What exactly has Kamala Harris done as vice president to improve this country, to improve it? To improve our security? Improve our economic situation? What has she done? Nothing. Nothing. What will she do to lower prices? Nothing. This thing about price gouging, that's just unleashing the lawyers against producers. That's not going to reduce any prices whatsoever. So she's not going to do anything. And the reason is the arsonist can't put out the fire. She was the tie vote who voted for that massive so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which was an inflation massive increase act. She voted. She was the tie vote. So when you look at your paychecks, or you look at your grocery bills, or you look at your utility bills, and go, holy mackerel, she did it. And her proposal now is to sick law enforcement on your neighbors who work for these different businesses. That's her solution. That's not an economic solution. Because of her ideology and, quite frankly, her stupidity, she doesn't have an economic solution. There is none. She wants the Trump tax cuts to lapse because she says they go to billionaires. Let me tell you folks something. When those tax cuts lapse, you're going to get it right in the throat. You're going to get whacked. Your tax rates are going to go up. Those of you who are cops and firefighters and teachers, those of you who run small businesses, whether they're electrical or HVACs or whatever you want to call it, you're going to get hammered. Those of you who have small businesses, you could be a farmer or or whatever, anything over $5 million, you're going to have to sell it. So let's say you're working your farm. You've been working it, the whole family has, for 40 years. Then you decide you're going to keep it as long as you can. You pass away, and in your will, you give it to your kids. And Kamala Harris's IRS comes along and says, wait a minute, your property's now worth $12 million. What are you talking about? Oh, yes. Well, I can't pay taxes on $12 million, a capital gains tax, which she wants to raise to into 40%. And the death tax was what would apply. She wants to raise that to 60% and reduce the total to $5 million. Now, we're not talking about people who have $5 million in their pocket. We're talking about people who have hard assets. Maybe a home, maybe 3 homes, but a real business. People who are, maybe they're earning $100,000, $150,000, $300,000 a year, but they're farming. They've inherited these properties. You will have to sell them to pay the IRS, which takes the money and gives it to Kamala Harris and her Democrats. They hand to their radical left-wing groups and illegal aliens and so forth. Folks, you got to listen to me. This has nothing to do with billionaires and multimillionaires. This has everything to do with you. And it'll be too late. You will have already voted for this, or our fellow citizens would have already installed these people. There's no way out. Once they're in, they're in. What else? Something nobody's mentioning. And I don't know why. I'll tell you why, because I'm saying it, so they don't want to repeat it. It's the truth. Professional jealousy. But I don't care. You're out there. We have what? 20 million? Look, when you add the current population of illegal aliens, which for 20 years we were told was 11 million, which was ridiculous, and you add another 10 million, so at a minimum we have over 20 million illegal aliens. They're already greasing the skids for amnesty for 1 million of them. It's already underway. It's going to happen. They're already fighting to oppose deportations, really, even of Venezuelan mass murdering gangs. They figure that's the price you pay, as Marx said. Despotism is the price you have to pay for a period of time in order to have the more perfect, utilitarian society. And that's the way the Democrat Party figures. Okay, well, so be it. We won't be affected. We're all covered. We elitists, we decision makers. But here's the kicker. Once people are legalized, and or once they have children who are automatically citizens, think about those numbers, Mr. Producer. There's chain migration. Chain migration. That means an extended list of relatives can then be brought into the country. So if you're talking about 21 million people, and you're talking about an extensive list of relatives that can come into this country, you're talking about 300 million people over the course of 20 years. This is no joke. This is mathematics. This is basic stuff. We only have 330 million people in this country right now. Do you understand the extent of this revolution by immigration? This is why the border is open. This is what the Democrats want to do. They tell us in so many words. When you call them out, of course, you're attacked. This is what all communities in America, and all red-blooded Americans better watch for this. Whether you're Hispanic or black or Asian or white or whatever you are, no country can sustain this. And we won't. Rome didn't survive it. Athens didn't survive it. We won't survive it either. Because what you lose is assimilation. What you lose is commonality of principles. We can talk about the Declaration. We can talk about the Constitution and the founders all we want. If it's not taught, and if they don't speak English, then it doesn't matter. They don't know American history. They're not here for American history. They're not here for allegiance to America. Why would they be? They're being told not to be loyal to America. But you get my point. No country survives this. There have been experiments in the past. Not even intentional experiments, just unintentional experiments. Open borders. The barbarians took out Rome. If you don't have an allegiance to your country, to the culture, whoever you are, whatever the hell your background is, to this country today, not 150 years ago, today, then you're going to lose it. Because if the people here, the citizens here who benefit from this country aren't willing to speak up and defend it, then nobody else is going to do it. That's what's at stake. It's not fascism, not Hitler, not a dictatorship. The Democrat Party, we have a man, an imbecile in the Oval Office who was one of the leaders of racism and segregation to try and prevent little black kids from going to school with little white kids. He did that, not Trump. He did. He opposes school choice, which really is a way to liberate mostly poor minority families in the ghettos so they can go to good schools with other kids. Who's standing in the doorway of the schoolhouses now? Kamala Harris is standing in the doorways. She is. You get rid of the Trump middle-class tax cuts. If you own a barbershop in the Bronx, your taxes are going through the roof. Through the damn roof. They can talk about billionaires all they want. Look at this abortion issue, how they've abused women in this country. She was even asked, I couldn't believe it, by Norah O'Donnell, kept pressing her, well, what are your limits? What are your limits? She wouldn't say she had any limits, because she doesn't. She doesn't believe in Roe v. Wade. She believes in some kind of North Korean style death by abortion, because there are no limits. A baby being delivered in the birth canal could be executed right there with the top of its head with a huge syringe. That's how it works. And you drain the brains out of the baby's head. You women who've had children, you know. That's not abortion, that's execution. But Kamala Harris supports a bill that would allow it. Tim Walz signed the damn bill into law. That's not Roe v. Wade. Well, what do I know? They're spending $1.2 billion on this election. As many people who listen to this show, as big and massive as this audience is, I can't reach what they're reaching with $1.2 billion. I can't substitute for these massive media corporations, these multi-billion-dollar media corporations who print lies, who speak lies, who hire pathetic know-nothings. It's going to be up to you to vote. It's going to be up to you to pass the word. That's all we've got, with 7 days left. This economy is a major burden on people. You know, we're talking about subsistence, the price of food, electricity, automobiles, and housing. This is the basics. We're Americans. This is supposed to be a base level, that we're able to provide food for ourselves and our family. We're able to have energy for our automobiles. We're able to afford an automobile. We are regressing. We are going backwards. We're becoming poorer, even when we earn more. Businesses aren't doing this. Unions aren't doing this. Hardworking small businessmen and women, you're not doing this. None of us are doing this. The government's doing it to us through their policies as they get more and more economically socialist. That's what happens. The billionaires get richer, but the average people can't make it. And that's what she stands for, the billionaires and the power of government. Where the hell else did she get $1.2 billion from? Trump says, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Exactly the line that Reagan used, and they're both correct. Are you? I have another one. You think you'll be better off 4 years from now if Kamala Harris is president of the United States than you are today? You got to be kidding me. They want to nationalize and centralize our health care system. They say we want everybody on Medicare. They will bankrupt Medicare. They'll start all over, and they will use the European style, which means everybody gets health care, but nobody gets medical treatment. Not on time, anyway. That's the damn problem. The government running health care? Are you kidding me? Which agency this time? Which agency do I go to have my heart operation? I'm sorry. Here's your paperwork. I'm sorry, you didn't fill it out properly. I'm sorry. What's your Social Security number? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we can take you, Mrs. Smith. Oh, yes, we can take you, Muhammad. But you're going to have to wait 7.5 weeks because we don't have enough cardiologists to handle this right now. That's what goes on in Britain, France, and Canada. Right there. Everybody's got health care, but nobody gets medical care. That's the difference. And then they control food prices? Look at this idiot Kamala Harris. Food prices? She can't even complete sentences. She's going to be in charge of the price of eggs and butter. And if you don't do what I say, we're going to sick the government on you. Oh, that'll work. That's not just socialism. That's Stalinism. All those little farmers out there, all those little ranchers out there, they're not trying to rip anybody off. The price of everything's gone through the roof. They got to cover their costs, so they're going to go broke. These people are nuts in the government. Kamala Harris is nuts. Everybody should get a bigger wage, but prices should go down. Okay, so how do we pay the bigger wage? Unless we raise prices. And on top of that, pay your damnable increased taxes and have to pay lawyers to deal with your regulations. That's what's coming, America. Government control by politicians and bureaucrats. That's why she cannot discuss what she really believes, and she will not discuss her successes because she has none. So I ask my brothers and sisters listening to this radio program, if you're in the African American community, you ask yourselves an honest question. What the hell has she done? And what is she going to do? Doesn't even believe in school choice for kids. Doesn't even believe in kids getting a quality education because they're not under the current regime. Asian community, nothing. Hispanic community, basically destroying it anywhere near the border. Nothing. And every other community, what has she done? Nothing, because she's done nothing. I'll be right back.
Marc Levin.
The upcoming election isn't just about choosing leaders. It's about bracing for the economic fallout that could follow. You know, history shows that post-election periods can bring economic turmoil. But this time, with our national debt skyrocketing and global tensions rising, we could be facing unprecedented risks. We could see runaway inflation or even a currency crisis. That's why I encourage people to diversify and look at gold as a financial safety net. Gold has been said to be a reliable wealth shield for thousands of years through some of the worst economic storms. And for my gold investments, I trust Advantage Gold. They're who I buy from exclusively, and I recommend them to anyone serious about helping to protect their wealth. You can call them right now at 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000 for a free gold investment kit to see how you can get started with gold. You can even qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. Tell them Marc Levin sent you. You'll be happy you did. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. By the way, we're going to be back in Philadelphia very, very, very shortly. Westwood One is a great company. It just is. And so when we need to create platforms or work to get new platforms, that's what we do. We don't just sit around and take it in the chin. George Soros can have WPHT in Philadelphia. He still needs to be investigated, which he is. He should not be able to steal stations like he did, in my view, stole them with the FCC's help. We'll keep on top of this. Any station that conducts itself this way, any billionaire, multi-billionaire, yes, I'm going to be here. And there's no way to silence me unless I drop dead right behind this microphone, and that's not my plan. I shall return. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Marc Levin.
Hello, America. Marc Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Now, let me show you who the real totalitarians are. The Democrats in the House are preparing to impeach Donald Trump right now. They fear he might win, and they plan to use the filing by the rogue, unconstitutional prosecutor by the name of Jack Smith to the rogue, unconstitutional judge appointed by Obama, Tanya Chutkan. So if he wins, they plan to do that, number one. They also plan to put up a fight on the floor of the House to prevent from counting the Electoral College votes. Now, the media know all this. It's public. Number three, there's a cabal, I think it's at George Washington University Law School, led by the dean or somebody over there, that will unleash lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit for the purpose of crippling Donald Trump's new administration right out of the box. And there's even more than that underway. So you can see that they do not accept democracy. They do not accept losing. They see this as their opportunity to control the country once and for all. These people are evil. They're diabolical. They're power hungry. They have nothing in common with us. Nothing. And so they project their totalitarianism onto Donald Trump. It was nothing of the sort. And was nothing of the sort. Period. You need to understand what we're up against, ladies and gentlemen. You have people running now for the Senate on the Democrat side who actually want you to believe that they're moderates. There's nothing moderate about them. None of them. They're all radicals. You know how I know? Because they're members of the modern-day Democrat Party. The modern-day Democrat Party is a party of revolution. It is a party of socialism. It's a party of cultural Marxism. It's a party of open borders. It's a party of police-state centralization. It's a party of government propaganda in government schools. No chance for competition or school choice. It's a party of Democrat Party billionaire oligarchs. They use the word democracy much the same way as Stalin did and Mao did and all the others. Democracy is a funny word. It's always used on behalf of the people who hate it. Suddenly they say they're going to defend the Constitution while they attack the independence of the court, while they attack the Electoral College, while they attack due process and equal protection, while they attack free speech and the right to association. They're the ones who are going to stand for the Constitution. They hate the document. They hate its limitations on what they want to do. They hate the people who wrote it. They hate the people who ratified it. But they're going to protect it, God willing. When have they protected the Constitution? When? When have they gone into court and protected the Constitution? We're the ones who have to go into court to try to protect the Constitution, not them. They're philosophical founding fathers. That is, the progeny of Karl Marx himself. I wrote about this at length in Rediscovering Americanism. Among them, you've heard of Woodrow Wilson. He was president. He's a bigot, a racist, segregationist. They talk about how they have to control the population from the top down. They embrace a communist ideologue from Italy who wrote about this, that Marx was wrong. The American proletariat will not rise up. The American proletariat defends America. The American proletariat populates their military and their police forces. The American proletariat will fight to the death to save their country. Therefore, communism, Marxism must be imposed on the people from the top down, a slower process, a more powerful process. It might involve violence, he said. But we have to secrete ourselves into the positions of power. We need to create a massive bureaucracy and own it and control it. We need to put our people into the judiciary. We need to do these things to impose our will on the population. Whether they vote or not is irrelevant. And that's what they're doing. Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci. He'd been a fascist under Mussolini, then he rejected it. He became a communist. He was a sickly man. He was quite deformed over much of his life. Handicapped for a good period of his life. He was thrown in prison, and this is where he wrote his quote-unquote great treatise, which is sitting right on my desk. It's a very thick book because these communists, other than Marx, who actually wasn't that smart, these communists write very, very thick books to explain their idea about genocidal totalitarianism in the name of the people. These are the masterminds who are going to rule your life. Many of them will be faceless. You'll never know who they are. They're already doing it. They tell you what kind of automobile you're allowed to have, what kind of lawnmower, ceiling fan, washer, dryer that you're allowed to have, What kind of HVAC system that you're allowed to have? None of them are engineers, by the way. None of them are developers. They sit on their fat asses in Washington, D.C., and they dictate. They reject the idea of single-family homes. Have many of you noticed in your communities, if there's any building going on, how few single-family homes are being built? Have you seen that, Mr. Producer? They're building apartments, some of which are condos. They're building townhouses. They're building them around little communities like Reston, Virginia, which, of course, has changed considerably, where you have like your own little socialist enclaves. And they want you to use public transportation, whether it's buses or maybe subway systems. So they're attacking the car. Let me tell you a little secret. Nobody's told you this. These radical, degrowth, no-growth types who dress up as concerned about the climate. In the 1970s, there was this massive meeting. European leaders in the so-called environmental movement, they acknowledged their degrowth movement. They acknowledged that they wanted to contract the size of the American economy and other industrial economies. The electric vehicle, ladies and gentlemen, they don't care whether you use an electric vehicle or not. They're going to mandate that you must. And if you don't have one, they're actually happy. They don't believe you should have mobility. Mobility is freedom. Freedom to go from one place to the other on your say-so, on your timeline. Freedom to go anywhere in the country just by getting into a car. Do you realize how unbelievably unique that is? So if we get rid of the gas combustion engine, we limit you to electric. And then you're stuck. There has to be electric charging stations, of which there are very few. So maybe you can go 300 at tops, 350 miles at a clip. That's as far as you can go. Then you got to wait in line 45 minutes if you can find one of these things. Why are they doing that? It's an attack on your freedom, don't you understand? These cars, your mobility, freedom, your ability to buy a single-family home instead of living in a dense area, freedom, lack of control by government, public transportation. You will go where we say, when we say, at the price we say. Freedom is living where you want to, getting in your car and going where you want to. Do you understand? This is bigger. Nobody explains this. I've written about it. I'm explaining it to you. This is bigger than the environment. They hate individual free will, as they must. They want to rejigger society. They want to rejigger the human being. That's what they want to do, whether you call it Marxism, socialism, autocracy, whatever it is. That's where the Democrat Party is. You'll use the fans we say you can use. You'll use the lawnmowers we say you can use. The HVAC systems we say you can use. They're very expensive. They all require a lot of electricity, of which there's not enough. Exactly. Then we monitor that. Then we decide how much you can use. Your home is not your kingdom. Your car is not your mobility. Your neighborhood's not your neighborhood. It's a commune. This is what's being done out of the bureaucracy as I speak. And Kamala Harris is all for it. She's all for it. In fact, she's been for it before most people. Parental rights. This administration, with Kamala in the second seat, has made it clear they don't believe in parental rights when it comes to genitalia, changes of your children. You don't get a say. When it comes to the education of your children, they're going to unleash the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office against you. That's their memo, which they've never withdrawn. Your kids are stuck in government schools. You want to send them to a private school, parochial school? No, you're not. You're stuck, and your kid's going to be brainwashed whether you like it or not. And they're going to look at the books we say whether you like it or not. They're going to be taught what we tell them whether you like it or not. And if you get in the way, you're going to be investigated. That's happening right now. People vote for tyranny. They do. It's happened in one society after another. They vote for their own demise. It happens all the time. No, in the course of humankind. And that's what this election is about. It's economic in every respect. It's freedom in every respect. It's your family. It's your faith. They're all under attack. Kamala Harris said, no excuses for conscience for anybody who opposes abortion. You're a person who's a doctor. You oppose abortion. You're going to deliver that baby or you're going to federal prison. That's it. You have a hospital run by nuns, the Catholic Church, what have you. You're going to do abortions right up to the birth canal, whether you like it or not. She said no concessions. That's her word. No concessions. So they're focused on this a-hole comic last night. Not what comes out of her big mouth. I'll be right back.
Marc Levin.
The big wireless carriers want to limit you to two choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. Listen to this. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/Levin. Switching is easy. There's no contract. There's no activation fees. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk. By the way, a breaking story at the Free Beacon that the State Department has sent a memo to members of Congress that the Iranian regime is still trying literally to assassinate Mike Pompeo. I mean, why do we put up with this? Why do we put up with this? We have a man running for the House of Representatives. Representative Marc Molinaro is running against a reprobate, in my humble opinion. New York's 19th Congressional District. New York is going to be a key to whether we hold the majority in the House or not. You got 5 very, very close races, 5 in the state of New York. This is one of them. Marc Molinaro, how are you, sir?
I'm well, Mark. Thank you. You were nicer about my opponent than I usually am.
Well, tell us about the country and other people in your district, about you and your opponent and what's going on there.
Sure. Well, listen, I'm finishing up my first term. You know, we fought to secure the border, drive down costs, make it more affordable. I work and live in a state where, frankly, because of Democratic rule, you know this, cashless bail and criminal justice reforms have made us unsafe. My opponent is a Washington, D.C. lawyer. In fact, this wasn't even the seat he wanted to run for. He ran originally in a seat that Claudia Tenney is now the member. You know her. He ran in a seat that Brandon Williams won, and that's, of course, another one of these seats we're defending. And then he came to this district to run. He spent the last 20 years working in Washington, D.C. as a D.C. lawyer, well-connected political law firm, and fought to dismantle the Trump border security policies. Frankly, he's responsible for basically the legal argument that led the Biden administration, Kamala Harris, to abandon the southern border and welcome 10.5 million people into this country illegally. Fast forward, of course, into New York State, and between sanctuary city policies and those other criminal justice reforms that he and Kathy Hochul embrace, we've just made ourselves less safe. And so now I've been fighting hard to try to combat all this. It's the most expensive race in America at the moment, and I know why. They can't win unless they try to buy it away from the people I represent.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, I came to Congress having served 12 years as a county executive in New York. That means I ran a municipal corporation during COVID and led the state in both cutting taxes and providing for public safety. Before that, served 7 years in the New York State Assembly. My wife and I live in Catskill, New York, with 4 wonderful children. One of whom lives with a disability. But we're like everybody else. We're paying too much in energy costs, too much electric costs. We have the 2 grocery carts at the grocery store, and we see everything far too damn expensive for far too little in return. And we're insulted by people like Josh Riley, who just want to wander into a district and try to buy it away from the people who've been working hard to make ends meet.
So this guy's a Washington, D.C. carpetbagger? Is that pretty much it?
Yes, sir. 20 years, lived and worked in Washington, D.C., for one of the most politically connected law firms in the Capitol. Served as a staffer for, you'll remember this name, former U.S. Senator Al Franken, where my opponent wrote, imagine this, wrote the mass amnesty bill that would have led to illegal immigrants getting, obviously, everything from hotels and credit cards to access to your Social Security checks. And, he runs on the working families line here in New York, which requires you as a candidate. So it required him to sign a pledge to fight for illegal immigrants to get the right to vote in New York. And none of this makes any sense. Of course, it undermines our safety and steals taxpayer dollars from good hard-working Americans.
He raises millions to lie about who he is and to lie about who you are. This is pretty much it. They never want to run against the actual candidate like you. They want to create a fictional character. Now, in your district, tell us what some of the towns are.
So, I live in the beautiful Catskill region. So Catskill, New York, many people will know. But this is also, so this is what we refer to it as we're upstate meets downstate, the old Borscht Belt in the Catskill region, Sullivan County, reaching across the Hudson River to the cities of city of Hudson and Rensselaer County around the Albany Capital District. But then you go clear west across the northern tier of Pennsylvania. Of course, we refer to it as the southern tier of New York, out to Binghamton and up to Ithaca. And of course, my district includes the great Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York.
Well, it sounds like a big damn district.
It's 11 counties. This is when you lead the nation and people leaving your state, right? And New York does. These districts get bigger and bigger to cover the territory to get to 770,000 residents. But I've known it. I've lived it. I've worked it my whole life. What I didn't tell you is a long, long time ago, I was elected mayor of my hometown when I was 19. A lot of folks around here know this. It's a long time ago, but I got the bug for public service. I think it's a responsibility, and I try to hold myself accountable and get this government to respect the taxpayers.
The ground game is going to make the difference. Do you have a good ground game?
We do. And, listen, this is the good thing on our side. Well, you know this. Listen, there's enthusiasm. People want to get out and vote for the president. They want to get out and hold the line in the House. We do. We've got a great ground game. We've got a good team all across the district. And I'd say this from Speaker Johnson right on, obviously, down to the chairwoman of our conference, Elise Stefanik. Everyone's leaning in. You opened it this way. This is really one of the 5 seats in America that's going to determine the fate of America. Will we have a Republican majority in the House that will fight to secure the border? Will we have one that will stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel? Will we have a Republican majority in the House that will fight to drive down costs and protect Americans and stop this endless fleecing of American taxpayers, handing over dollars to those who come into this country illegally? This is one of those 5 seats.
And is there any big issue going on in your district that might sway it one way or the other? I mean, I know the economy, the border, and so forth. Is there something else going on in this district?
Well, let's be clear. Because of my opponent and because of the policies of Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams, the border is number one. And we've seen, you have the sanctuary city policies. We had the arrest of a Peruvian gang leader responsible for 23 murders in my district. Really ushered in by this administration and the legal work of my opponent, Josh Riley. But I also will tell you, because of that, we're also the epicenter of the fentanyl crisis. And this part of upstate New York has seen far too many lives lost. And we've been leading on this issue, both before I became a member of Congress, supporting law enforcement to really intercede in drug trafficking, and by the way, to help people who are dealing with addiction. And now we lead this effort now as a member of Congress.
Well, America and the folks in New York's 19th Congressional District, I'll endorse you if it helps you, my friend. I want you to get behind Marc Molinaro, marcforus.com, M-A-R-C for US.com. He needs all the help he can get. We got 7 days to help protect and save this country for your kids and grandkids. Vote early. Vote early. That's Marc Molinaro, New York's 19th. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back. The big wireless carriers want to limit you to 2 choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. Listen to this. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/Levin. Switching is easy. There's no contract. There's no activation fees. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk.
Marc Levin, tough as hell.
That's why I like Marc Levin. And I'm not sure a lot of people like him. He's tough as hell. But I like him. I love him.
Call in now. 877-381-3811.
Puerto Rico. So the media focus on this so-called comedian who was at Madison Square Garden that nobody knows, including every person who was in the building, probably including Donald Trump and his campaign. These things happen. They slip through the cracks. The Democrat Party should know better than anybody. They've had racists, anti-Semites, but not slip through the cracks, actually lead their party, including Joe Biden. And, of course, Kamala Harris is, in my view, the biggest anti-Semite to ever run for president. What do you think of that, media? What do you think of that, media? And I can prove it. I can prove it with the people she surrounds herself with. I can prove it with her blood libels. I can prove it. And by the way, anybody in the media want to come on this program and debate me on this? I'm more than happy to have you. Jake? Dana? Who else? Who else is out there? Al Sharpton? Anyone else? Mika? Joe? The rest of the conga line of fools, phonies, and frauds? Happy to do it. So there are people in Puerto Rico. If you're Puerto Rican, the Democrat Party's now decided to play you, as they do every ethnic group. Because of this comedian who nobody knows, they want you to believe that Donald Trump now hates Puerto Ricans. How does Donald Trump hate Puerto Ricans? That's just another lie. But Kamala Harris has been vice president for a long time. Last time I checked, there's Puerto Ricans in California. She was DA, again, Attorney General. She's a senator from there. So my question to the Puerto Rican community is, can you think of one thing, one, that Kamala Harris has ever done for Puerto Rico? Just one. One thing. In all her years in government, what has Kamala Harris done for the Puerto Rican community? Nothing. Same with the black community. Nothing. Same with the Asian community. Nothing. Same with the Hispanic community. Nothing. Jewish community stabs you in the back. Worse than nothing. So what has she done? So she's running on abortion and Hitler. Hitler would have loved her abortion position, by the way. Could have justified a lot of what they did, quite frankly. So extremist is she. Now I want you ladies who believe in abortion, which is fine. Not to me, but you're free to believe what you want. And you think Donald Trump's going to take abortion away from you. I want to ask you a question. Do you think it's okay when a baby is in literally the birth canal to take a really long needle, about 10 inches long, to shove it into the soft spot on the top of the baby's head? Now listen to me, because this is how it goes. To pull that syringe and the brain matter out of the skull and then deliver it dead from the birth canal. Is that okay with you? Is that a right to choose? Is that a reproductive right? Is that okay? I think it's sickening. I think it's so grotesque. This is exactly why they will not show it on television. Not even Frontline on PBS will go there. No. Not even the Discovery Channel. No, we can't go there. No. Show it to us. Show it to us. You know what? Don't even show us with real human beings. Show us with robots. Show us with dummies. Show it to us. They won't do it. How about this one? We know it's been recorded in the state of Minnesota from botched abortions as a result of a law signed by Tampon Tim, that they put the baby on the steel table and it dies. And there have been multiple cases of this, but Timmy decided not to keep records of that anymore. You can look it up, legitimate sites and sources on your computer. Look it up. It's the truth. This is the position of the Democrat Party. This is one, even Nora O'Donnell, just another low IQ phony journalist, even when she was pressing Kamala Harris, she wouldn't answer it. But she wants you to know that Donald Trump will ban it. In fact, send government monitors out. Where's that come from? It comes from the soft part of her brain, because that's not true. And I'm so glad Shannon Sharp asked about it. Aren't you, Mr. Producer? Oh, he didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I thought I liked this guy. He's really good at sport, but If you're going to move into politics, you got to get smart, like my man Stephen A. or somebody else. You can't go in there half-assed because you don't look good. You look dumb. I support my candidates. I can give you 1,000 reasons why I support them and oppose other candidates. They're Republicans I cannot stand and I will never support. And you know, this whole idea of the movement versus the establishment, I started that. That's why Boehner hates my guts to this day. I don't know. I was getting along with Rush and Sean just fine. Then this guy Levin came along. Screw you, you dummy, as you represent the marijuana industry. By the way, I voted against that stupid marijuana thing. Oh, recreational marijuana. Oh, that's great. Recreational marijuana. Your kids, they'll be fine. Don't worry. Drink? No problem. Your house will smell great. You don't like the smell? Just a little freshener. The things will be great. And just because they're driving and their eyes are glazed over, everything's great. This disgusting industry out of Canada. I stand with DeSantis on this strongly. So I voted against it. Absolutely, 100%. Oh, yes, I already voted. Oh, you voted early? You're damn right I did. I practice what I preach. And I strongly encourage you to vote as early as you can and quickly. Pennsylvania. You know, ladies, and gentlemen, I'm looking at the numbers of Pennsylvania. We may well win Pennsylvania, but right now they're outdoing us. I don't know why our people think they have to put a smiley face on everything. Tell our people, our audiences, the truth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get giddy. I want to win. And if we win, I'm going to be giddy, I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to thank you. You got out early. You did what you needed to do. You don't do that before an election, for God's sakes. Oh, we're way ahead. We're way ahead. Oh, okay, Frank, I'm sitting on my ass. I'm not going. What kind of talk is this? I don't understand. How many more times are we going to get burned? 2020, 2022? Is it smart? No, it's not smart. And if we win a landslide, great. Then we're all geniuses. Wonderful. Fine by me, but we're not there yet. Let me tell you a little secret. I've been asked if I want to comment during the election on Fox and on the Blaze. I really have to think it over. I'll tell you why. Pennsylvania won't be in for 4 days. Good job, Keystone State. Oh, you're great. Then Maricopa County, Phoenix. Apparently they don't know how to count the bureaucrats there. They said it could be up to a week. A week? Then Michigan comes in, the pathetic, sickening so-called Secretary of State, Secretary of Confusion. People are going to have to be patient. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life? Then we have a Supreme Court ruling out of Pennsylvania trying to hand the Democrats the election. That's on appeal. We have another Supreme Court ruling, I forget which state, that says, no, you don't have to follow the law. What are you talking about? You can count the ballots 3 days after the election. Who decided that? These clowns in the black robes, they decided it. They don't have any authority to decide it. And the one about non-citizens. The most radical left-wing judge in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Her name is Patricia Giles, appointed by Biden, of course. She writes a barely literate opinion that backs the DOJ. She goes to the Fourth Circuit, a panel there. Fourth Circuit used to be the most conservative circuit. Now it's one of the most liberal. They quickly rubber stamp it. Now Governor Youngkin, to his great credit, is going to the Supreme Court to fight over what? Non-citizens on the damn voting roll. Alabama's challenging it. Other states are challenging it. We literally have to go to court to keep non-citizens from voting? And then they wrap themselves in sanctimony. Well, some of these people could have made a mistake. Well, so be it. They said non-citizen. Well, if it's systemic, it's not. Oh, but we think it is. We get the most asinine people we're arguing with, and so many of them are judges. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court is corrupt. I know, as a matter of fact, my wife knows, we all know, the litigation in 2020, really serious constitutional challenges, which 3 justices wanted to take up, but they couldn't get a 4th. Good job, John Roberts. So it's a 5-2 majority on that court. And they're going to do whatever the Democrats want them to do. You got a situation in Georgia where we got Democrats on their court. Why? Because Republicans don't pay attention when they have elections for these courts. Some of these courts are appointed, wherever. But in some of these, they run for office. So the 5 majority on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court out of 7 were all backed by the teachers' unions. because the Republicans were just too busy to pay attention to this. Maybe they were giddy. Oh, we're going to win this one. Listen to me. Listen to me. The system is built to defeat us now. The processes that are in place, many of them have been imposed by radical leftists on these courts. Many of them have been imposed by one-party state legislatures. We have to overcome election systems that aren't election systems, that people can vote a week out, that the date doesn't have to be right. Oh, this is Pennsylvania. The signature doesn't have to match. The signature doesn't have to match? Where'd that come from? The 5 justices. Actually, it was 4-3. 4-3. This is going on. You got these Democrat lawyers all over we're for democracy. They're not for democracy. They're not for elections. They're for power. These bastards are diabolical. So we have to turn out in numbers that have never been seen before. And so when we get people voting early, look at this, we're really winning here. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. We don't know if it's the same people will vote on election day or not. But can't we celebrate if we win? Do we have to celebrate before? And I blame many people in my business on radio and TV who are giddy in advance of an election. You're not to be giddy in advance of an election. You get off your ass. You put your shoulder to the wheel. You get out as many people. You know, you have a responsibility when you have a microphone or a camera in your right nostril. You have a responsibility. If you're mission-oriented like me, and that's all it is, I am mission-oriented. I don't know how many more years I have behind this microphone, but from day one, I am mission-oriented. I don't play games. I don't joke about it. Now, we're entertaining, we're substantive, but I am mission-oriented. For this country, people put their lives on the line and they die. The least I can do is use my mouth behind this microphone to communicate it with as many people as humanly possible. You don't celebrate in advance. Look what happened with the Commanders in Chicago. Did you see that, Mr. Producer? You got one schmuck. He's already talking to somebody in the fan. A fan. Did you see that? Didn't even wait till the game's over. He's talking to a fan. The Chicago Bears. I'd be furious with that guy. I'd suspend his ass. That's just me. Maybe they did. So that's that. You don't celebrate. You win the damn game. You win the damn election. Then you can celebrate. And then we got to get ready for the next battle as they try to sabotage the Trump presidency. But one fight against tyranny at a time. I'll be right back.
Marc Levin.
The big wireless carriers want to limit you to 2 choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. Listen to this. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/Levin. Switching is easy. There's no contract. There's no activation fees. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk. Kamala Harris is proposing a wealth tax. Don't worry, it won't affect me. I'm not a billionaire. They always affect you. The easiest enforcement is against you, not the billionaires. And as many billionaires as there may be, there's a lot more of you. That wealth tax will apply to you. You know, the federal income tax was never supposed to apply to you. Only the very, very richest, and it started out at 1%. But it does apply to you, doesn't it? No, they're never going to allow you to get away with it. They want to control you, and they want to take your money. Now, what happens with a wealth tax? A wealth tax means that you earn something, you've paid all your taxes on it, and you keep it, but every year they want to put a wealth tax on it, which means you will lose it. You will lose it to the government. If you own a farm, they're going to keep taxing federally, in addition to your property taxes and your state taxes and every other damn tax. Oh, your wealth tax. We estimate that's worth $3 million. So you need to pay us 50% or whatever it is. I don't have that. Okay, we're taking your farm. You think I'm kidding? That's a wealth tax. And let me tell you something else. You know what a wealth tax really is? It's the seizure of private property by the federal government. It's just a fancy, a wealth tax. They want you to think you have to be wealthy. They didn't say a wealthy tax. They said a wealth tax. You could be worth 3 cents. That's your wealth, 3 cents. So they're going to take people's farms. They're going to take people's small businesses. They're going to take people's ranches. That's what they're going to do. That's a wealth tax. And they're never going to have enough money because they're massively deficit spending. You think they're going to limit this to quote-unquote billionaires or people who earn over $500 million? You're out of your mind. They're gunning for you. And I say enough is enough. Of course she's not going to talk about her policies. She's got 2 problems. Number 1, she can't talk or think. And number 2, if she were able to, she'd have to reveal her radical ideology and she wouldn't get any votes. Instead, just keep calling Trump Hitler. You're going to lose your democracy. I want to make you a bet. Should Trump win, he won't be Hitler. There's another $1 million bet, Mr. Producer. My first $1 million bet with Kamala Harris, I'm sure George Soros can pay the way, is that Donald Trump will not sign a national ban on abortion. $1 million. We haven't heard from the campaign. Next $1 million. If Donald Trump's elected president, God willing, he won't be Hitler. Wow, that's $2 million. Now, what do you think about that, liberals? You want to bet me? Even your billionaires and millionaires, do they want to bet me? Of course not. They know this is a scam. This is the most dishonest campaign ever run by anybody for anything. Ever. That's why they need $1.2 billion to convince you to vote for her. They've got nothing. They've got nothing. They've done nothing to help you. They've done nothing for the economy but set it on fire. They've done nothing to address crime in the streets. Literally nothing. They've done nothing to improve your lives. Literally nothing. Don't trust them, America. I shall return.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Marc Levin.
Hello, America. Mark R. Levin, Esquire here. Did you know that, Mr. Producer? Our number is 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. I had a wonderful mother. I miss her horribly. And she said, look, when you sign your name, it's Mark R. Levin, Marklevin. I said, Mom, why do I have to use my middle name? Because there's a lot of Mark Levins or Levins out there. So that's what I've done all my life. She was something else, so wonderful. I haven't talked about her enough over the years. I certainly should. She was the driving force in our family in many respects. My dad would have told you that. She was a strong, independent woman and a mother, proud mother, and a proud wife. Not any of this radical kook crap. She would have despised Kamala Harris as would my father. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrat Party is using the Adolf Hitler campaign strategy. Doesn't get any lower than that. And I love it when the news commentators say, well, Trump called this one a fascist. He didn't call him Hitler. I did 2 shows on Hitler, the Nazis, the Democrats over the weekend. I hope you saw them. They're on the internet, my opening statements. And the New York Post, really one of the great papers and the oldest newspaper in the country. I want you to listen to this. Shameful MSNBC. Blasted for splicing Nazi rally clips into coverage of Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. Incitement. You got that? This is a network program. This company, MSNBC, is owned by Comcast. How many of you have Comcast? Get rid of it. Get rid of Comcast. Get rid of it. MSNBC used Nazi rally clips during its coverage of former President Donald Trump's historic campaign event You know, I said at the beginning, and I want to say it again. These people would not cry even a crocodile tear if Donald Trump was, in fact, assassinated. They'll deny any role. Oh, well, no, nothing we said. No, it's you guys. You did it. I'm telling you right now, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. The left-wing network, we've archival footage from the 1939 Nazi rally. Was FDR there? Into the broadcast of Trump's Sunday rally, which saw the iconic New York City venue packed to the rafters with jubilant supporters. Now, here's the good thing. Fox rightly ran Donald Trump right to the end. That kind of preempted some of my show. We have a great show on Saturday and Sunday before my show. They took up till 9. Trey Gowdy took from 9 to 10, and they wanted to run me from 10 to 11. So our lineup crushed, I guarantee you, MSLSD. Crushed it. But look how they have to do it. Look how the media and the Democrat Party work hand in glove, even when it comes to the promotion of a Hitler campaign strategy. That's what it is. They don't care if you go hungry. They don't care if you can't afford anything. They don't care if you lose a job. They don't care if you lose a business. They don't care about the price of food, the price of energy. Now, we're running our Adolf Hitler campaign strategy. We'll scare the crap out of everybody. Is that what you want? See, the problem is we had Donald Trump for 4 years. He was none of these things. They're these things. The neo-Nazis are in the Democrat Party. Right, Tlaib? Why don't you sue me? Oh, my goodness. Right, Omar? Yeah, you're the neo-Nazi, you Islamist Jew haters. You're in the Democrat Party. You both were endorsed by Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party. And Tampon Tim. Yeah, they have neo-Nazis, a.k.a. Islamist Jew haters. Marxist Jew haters. Those are neo-Nazis. And guess what? Kamala embraces them. She surrounds herself with them. Oh, yes, she does. The State Department's full of these rats. Oh, yes, it is. As is the Defense Department. Oh, my. Quote, that jamboree happening right now in that place is particularly chilling. Because in 1939, more than 20,000... I use the word, ladies and gentlemen, that it's a common day word, but, you know, we don't want to have trouble. Not yet, anyway. So this is this guy, Capehart, who's a Democrat clown through and through. Packed the garden for a so-called pro-American rally. Washington Post columnist and MSLSD contributor and avowed Trump hater Jonathan Capehart said breathlessly while rolling the footage. Rolling the footage of Sunday's patriotic event with Americans, many of whom have fought for this country, many of whom are cops and firefighters, many of whom are emergency personnel, many of whom are hardworking Americans, and many of whom were Orthodox Jews. Did you see them wearing their yarmulkes, a.k.a. kippas? Did you see them? Oh, yes, they, of course, went to a Hitler rally, didn't they? Let me ask you a question. They were flying the Israeli flag at that rally. Is that what was flying in 1939? Capehart, you lowlife? You jerk? It's sick. This party, the Democrat Party, is a sick party. It was birthed in sickness. It went to war and almost destroyed the country to defend slavery. To defend slavery. And now it's defending its Hitler campaign strategy. It should offend each and every one of you. So what's their plan to lower the price of food? They have no plan. What's their plan to lower the price of energy? They have no plan. I'll tell you why in a minute. What's their plan to lower the price of interest rates and purchasing a home? They have no plan. What's their plan for lowering inflation generally? They have no plan. What's their plan for improving your life? They have no plan. Do you know why? Oh, over there in the back of Sally. Yeah, I know why. Why? Because they created it all. Sally, you get an A+. You get an A+. They did it to you. And they're going to do more to you. And they're going to do more to your children and your grandchildren. And they're going to do more to your neighborhoods. And they're going to reach into your bedroom, into your garage, into your dining room. They're going to reach into your laundry room. Remember, we want privacy. They're going to tell you what to buy, how to buy it, how much to pay, how to live. Oh, yeah. And if your faith gets in the way, they will steamroll you and they will throw you in prison. Ask the old ladies, the poor grandmothers who are in prison tonight, and the mothers who are in prison tonight because they dared to go to Planned Parenthood, founded in racism against black people, founded in eugenics because you dared to protest there and raise questions. No. You don't understand. You need to protest in the streets and talk about the extermination of the Jews. Then Kamala Harris will come out and say, look, we may not like, but it's free speech. Shut up, you stupid moron. Get back in your room. Good God. Can you imagine, Rich? It's scary. How stupid First, the Democrat Party gives us a man who has dementia. Well advanced, at least the 6th stage now out of 7. The guy doesn't know the bathroom from the dining room. I'm sure Dr. Jill dresses him, undresses him, brushes his false teeth, combs his hair, ties his tie. Oh, I can only imagine what's going on behind the scenes. Just remember, the same Democrat Party, the same Jonathan Capehart, the same Scarboroughs, the same MSNBC and CNN and the media and the corrupt slimes and the compost and all the rest. The same corrupt Democrat Party and their surrogates told you that Joe Biden was Einstein. Told you that he's smart as can be, led by Kamala Harris, who lied to each and every one of you with a straight face and a stupid gaggle. Just like she is now. And by the way, now they're booming him. He wants to campaign. I got to get in on this. You got Obama out there and Clinton. I got on Beyonce. She didn't sing, but she was. Come on, I can dance. Can I go out there too? They're brooming him. No, Joe, we really can't have you. And they're not putting it that way. They're like not returning his call. Did you read that, Mr. Producer? They're not returning. But he's good enough to be president for the next 3 months, right? Good enough. This is the Democrat Party, America. They're not about you. I don't care what color you are, race you are, what income stratus you're in. It doesn't matter. And I don't care if they bring out Hollywood or athletes or broadcast. No. They're not affected the way you're affected. These people are going to be rich all the time. They're the clowns for the establishment on the Democrat Party. Hollywood is the clown show for the establishment. I'm telling you the truth. These people the singers, the dancers, the this one, the that one, that's the clown show for the establishment. They have literally nothing in common with you, and they're disrespecting you. I'll be right back.
Marc Levin.
Eric Hovde is one of our favorite candidates. He's running for the Senate in Wisconsin, and it's pretty much a tie with Tammy Baldwin, who's a radical leftist, now trying to pretend a moderate and actually running commercials lying about some ties to Donald Trump. Donald Trump said, I have nothing to do with her. And this is what they do with their money. They lie to you because they don't respect you. And so, Eric Hovde, we've got a week left. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Mark, and it's great being on your show. Look, the energy and the momentum is on our side, without question. I've been given 5 to 6 speeches a day, talking to reporters, radio. Senator Baldwin, I think she may give 1 speech a day. She runs from the press. It's a rather remarkable campaign strategy. Take a lot of special interest money, attack you with ads, try to lie about everything you do, and then hide. And that's what she's been doing. So, but the campaign's going real well. I feel really good. The energy's out there. I think President Trump and I are going to win. It's going to be a battle. So we appreciate anybody and everybody's support. But, yeah, we're just continuing to charge.
Well, I see they're bringing in Bernie Sanders and AOC. I mean, this woman's schizophrenic. Number one, she's running ads that she's tied with Trump. And the other, she's bringing in 2 of the biggest anti-Semitic Marxists that ever walked in Congress.
100%. Look, it's so clear the difference. What do President Trump and I want to do? His brand is make America great again. Mine's restore the American dream. What does Baldwin and Harris want to do? They want to change America. Remember what they said 4 years ago? Well, they sure have, and it sure has been for the worse. We want to protect our Constitution and our First and Second Amendment. What do they want to do? They want liberal courts to remake our Constitution, and they want to attack our First Amendment, our right of free speech, and our Second Amendment. We want to preserve, me and President Trump, our free market system that have made us the most wealthy country in the world. And wherever it goes, it lifts people out of poverty. They want to drag us down to socialism. So, you know, she can bring in Bernie Sanders and AOC, who you and I both know, Mark, doesn't have a lot of mental weight upstairs. You know, good luck. I feel that the people of Wisconsin across this country are waking up and want to take our country back. And we just got to charge hard all the way through. And if somebody wants to throw me a few bucks at EricHovde.com to keep the message going, I'd really appreciate it.
That's Eric, H-O-U-D-E, Hovde, pronounced H-O-U-V. H-O-V-D-E, right?
Yep, H-O-V-D-E, exactly,
yeah,
Mark.
HOVDE.com. Now tell me this, how's your ground game?
You know, our ground game is good. AFP's been in here. I think the organization with Musk, I don't
That's
really
Americans
know
for
much
Prosperity.
Yep. Susan B. Anthony is in there. We've got a good game, a ground game with our county parties. People are working hard, so I feel good. Look, they always have, you know, the public employee unions, and you know, they always are going to have a good ground game. But I feel pretty good about our ground game in Wisconsin.
Early voting, right? People need to get out right now. How's that looking?
You know what? We're up in early voting. If you look at what's going on in Wisconsin, compared to 2016 or 2020, our numbers are up, their numbers are down. Mark, I'm sensing that there may be a groundswell. You know, the silent majority may be waking up and of just saying, enough. We want our border closed. We don't want, which Senator Baldwin, all your listeners should know, she's behind this Equality Act, trying to remake Title IX, forcing guys to play in girls' sports and go in our daughters' bathrooms and locker rooms. I don't like that stuff. I'm a girl dad. I have two daughters. And, you know, this is the kind of stuff that they're pushing. And I think people are saying, we've had it. And so I'm feeling really good. But, again, we got to, everybody out there who's listening, you got to not just vote yourself. You got to grab your friend, your neighbor, your colleague, the people you hunt or fish with or go to church with or whatever. You got to get them out and vote.
What do you think of this Kamala Harris relying on this Hitler campaign strategy? They're obsessed with this Hitler stuff. It's really grotesque for people who suffered, the Holocaust survivors. I try to use my shows on Fox to show what Hitler did and how outrageous this is. I mean, I really feel that if Donald Trump, poor Donald Trump, was to actually be hit, and I mean taken out, that a lot of these people, Kamala Harris, the people in her campaign, people in the media, they wouldn't even cry a crocodile tear because they know he's been 2 attempts on his life. They know this language is incendiary, and yet they do it anyway.
100%, and it's disgusting. And they're the ones trying to claim they're defending democracy. I mean, give me a break. They use words like that. You know, they attack President Trump. Well, look what he says in his words. His words are nowhere near what they're saying. You know, Hillary Clinton, half of Americans are deplorable. He's a Nazi. He's a racist. Well, it was very interesting seeing the images. How many Jewish people attended the rally in Madison Square Garden?
There were a lot, and they brought the Israeli flag, a lot of them.
Exactly. And how about
But before we move on, can you think of a Democrat form right now where you could have Jews with their garb on bringing in the Israeli flag and not being attacked?
No, I don't. I couldn't think of one. So they have nothing but their nasty rhetoric because, Mark, they have nothing to run on. What are they going to run on? We created inflation. We opened the border. We brought criminals into your communities. We're letting your streets be flooded with fentanyl. We created a humanitarian crisis on our southern border. They have nothing to run on. So all they can do is use their tools and legacy media to whip up nonsense things like it's a Hitler rally. I mean, how disgusting. And you know what that does? It demeans what people who actually suffered from Hitler and what they went through. And if I was a Jewish person that lost grandparents during Hitler's reign, I would be outraged about the words they're using.
You're 100% right. And what exactly has Kamala Harris done for the state of Wisconsin, the people of Wisconsin, in 4 years as vice president?
Well, she's done a lot of damage, just like Senator Baldwin. She ignited inflation. She opened our southern border. She's let criminals and fentanyl pour into our country. I can't think of one positive thing she's done, but I sure can think of a long line of very negative things that she's done to our great state.
There's nothing she can run on. There's nothing. She's done nothing for any community, for any state, for any city. She has literally done nothing in her entire career. She has nothing that she could run on. People want to help you. Where do they go?
Eric Hovde, HOVDE.com. Mark, always great being on your show. Let's take America back, folks.
Go get him, baby. Early vote. Go vote. This is a good man. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, the thunder on the right. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
Some say the media are blatantly suppressing critical issues during the course of this campaign. You mean like Dougie Emhoff slapping his girlfriend so hard she twirled around? Is that called the abuse of a woman, Mr. Producer? Where's the Me Too movement? There's Michelle Obama. She's actually campaigning for this ticket. Where is she? She hasn't said a word about it. What about Kamala Harris? That's her husband. Don't you know she used to lock up people like this? These are phonies and frauds, America. Phonies and frauds. I got more on Tampon Tim in a minute. Those of you who actually care about our country, your eyeballs are going to roll into the back of your head. So you look like Nancy Pelosi. Tim Walz, New York Post. Whatever you do, the rest of the media, do not report this. Tim Walz accused of pushing Chinese Communist Party official's daughter to the brink of suicide during storm-tossed love affair in the 1980s. Quote, made me feel cheap. Trust me, he makes us all feel cheap. As I've said before, this guy looks like the quintessential guy in the raincoat on the corner in New York saying, over here. And you say to your kid, stay away from that guy. Oh, I have cigarettes. No, that's okay, Tim. Tampon Tim. Move along. Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz had a love affair with the daughter of a Chinese Communist Party. I thought it was Swalwell for a second. What's with these Democrats and their affairs with these communists? Amazing. And he had this during his teaching stint in Foshan. That was so stormy it drove her to the brink of suicide, the New York Post has learned. Hey, CNN, don't report this. MSNBC, no, don't say anything. My friend Shannon Sharp, don't say anything, no. Not my friend, but you understand. Zhana Wang, excuse me? That's right, Zhana Wang, 59, told the Post in a phone interview she'd fallen head over heels for the now Minnesota governor when he was a young high school English instructor in Foshan, Guangdong province, China. Oh. I don't know what she saw in him. That included sending Wang letters after returning to the U.S. over the following summer, even asking for a passport-sized photo of her to be sent back to Denver, she said, implying that Walz was helping her to obtain a visa. This freaking fraud and a phony. His lack of character as a man, a responsible person who had worked in education or the military, she added. I thought he also loved me. I loved him. Wow, that means Dougie Emhoff was a sleazeball. Now we have Tampon Tim is a sleazeball. But don't worry, ladies. He's for the women. As long as you can get access to abortions on demand, you can vote for him. Don't worry. It's all okay. The Daily Mail first reported on the allegations by Wang, who said she fled China for Italy only a few years after her ill-fated romance with Walz. According to an open letter, Wang also authored seeking to warn the American electorate about him. The two were like husband and wife at first, sharing tea and holding hands privately out of the watchful eye of her father, Bin Hu, a labor leader union in her hometown of Gula, who had been upset to have seen his daughter falling for a Westerner, not just a Westerner, a pig, she told the Post. Walz is now 60. Doesn't he look like he's 98, Mr. Medusa? Walz is now 60, arrived in China through the nonprofit World Teach, and the two connected while Wang taught at a nearby middle school. The young lovers enjoyed karaoke together, and Walz showered Wang with gifts including gold jewelry, high-waist blue jeans. Oh, what a lover he was. But then he became the type of man, she said, against whom a mother warns her daughter not to get involved. The open letter adds, this guy's a pig, just like Emhoff, just like Clinton. While it is true you had not promised marriage before you had arrived back in China, marriage was what I had assumed, she wrote. To marriage was what you had led me to believe, as well as led others to believe, including the female colleague of yours with whom we had tea. I hate tea, by the way. Nobody understands it. Every time I'm sick, do you want tea? No, for the 4 billionth, I don't drink tea. According to Wang, is it Wang or is it Wang, Mr. Producer? You can call it Wang, I'll call it Wang. The two had a disagreement over whether she really loved Walz or merely wanted to obtain a visa, which she said came as a shock because she'd been willing to give up her whole life in China to join Walz in his home state in Nebraska. I was giving it up with Tim to get married and start a family, she told the Daily Mail. I'm sure CNN's way too busy with the Hitler campaign strategy to cover this. I'm sure MSLSC's too busy with the with the slicing in the 1939 neo-Nazis, a.k.a. Democrats back then, with the Trump rally yesterday. Knowing now that he wasn't going to marry me made me feel cheap and common. And if was being treated like a prostitute, well, that's our man, Tampon Tim. But he cares about women and women's reproductive rights, just like Kamala. They never met again, but Walz returned to China in 1993 as the head of an annual summer student program. That's right. Connecting Nebraska and Minnesota high schoolers with Chinese institutions. I wonder how many other women this clown hit on. I wonder how many more. Can you imagine Doug Emhoff in China? Oh, my God, would he have a field day? These are sick people. Every time I look at Kamala, I think of this guy Emhoff, that he slapped this woman. And there she is, smiling like a dummy, standing next to this guy. The future land of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota. The governor married his wife, Gwen Whipple. Did you know her name was Whipple, like Mr. Whipple, Mr. Medusa? This couple, Tampon Tim and Gwen Whipple. I mean, seriously, folks. Is this like a nightmare? What the hell is this? Or a cartoon? He married her the following year after returning to the U.S., so he drops this poor woman, who he led on. Then he marries Gwen Whipple. Now, we've all seen Gwen Whipple, and I'll leave it at that. The wedding took place on June 4th, the 5th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. So the Waltzes could, quote, have a date he'll always remember, his wife later. So Tiananmen Square, where the communist Chinese murdered 10,000 Chinese students seeking freedom, he gets married on that date, so he and his wife have a date to remember. This is sick! Tim lied about Tiananmen Square, and he's lied about other things, Wang told the Daily Mail. This is a very crucial moment in history, and a man like this does not appear to have the character, she says, and integrity to do one of the most important jobs in the world. He's been all over talking about Hitler, too. Like he has a stutter. Hitler and Hitler, Hitler and Hitler. Reps for the Harris-Walz campaign did not immediately respond to a request for comment. They're never going to respond for a request for comment because he's a pig. I'll be right back.
Marc Levin.
After you called Donald Trump a fascist, the top Republicans in Congress have called on you to tone down your rhetoric. They say it's, quote, irresponsible anti-Trump rhetoric. And they're saying what you're doing could invite another assassination attempt against Donald Trump. How would you respond to that?
Well, first of all, I condemn any political violence of any sort against anyone.
Really?
But again, don't take it from me. Take it from the people who know him best.
Why don't you answer her question? I'm so sick of this crap where she goes round and round and round. I'm so sick of it. Why don't you ask John Kelly? Yeah, that wasn't too planted, was it? It's planted in the media. They run with it. She walks in front of the observatory. The vice president's house makes an announcement. Why didn't she just answer the question? You're endangering his life with your big mouth. And her answer should be, I have to. I don't have anything else. I have nothing to run on. I've got nothing. That's the answer to that. Because she has nothing. All right. How much time do we have left, Mr. Producer? Let's do something I dare say we haven't done in a while. Let's take some calls. Let's see here. Let's go to, hold on, I got to do it off my phone here. Why don't we go to Linda, WABC, Humdale, New Jersey. Linda, how are you?
Mark, I wish I could say I'm better. I'm actually almost brought to tears. I've lived the American dream. I've worked very hard. Both my husband and I married 40 years. Worked very hard, professionals, did it on our own, never asked for a cent. Raised 3 beautiful children who are now very educated, very nice people, but are very liberal. And I'm really
all your kids?
All my kids.
Did they go to college?
Because they went to the best colleges, colleges. My husband and I paid for our own colleges. They were state colleges. We paid for our own way. We did everything. But, you want to afford your children the best thing because we had a little bit more money than our parents. And why not? And they turned out to be great people. But my God, my daughter, who is a physician, she's worked very hard to get where she just is graduating her residency program. She just called me and said, "Yeah, I'm going to vote for Harris."
God.
Now look, I'm willing to go out there on a limb and say I love Trump and I'm a big supporter because I know what he stands for and he represents what I stand for. It's America. But my God, she's just voting against Trump. She says, I said, well, give me one thing that you're voting for Harris, just one thing. And she said, well, because she's going to give me a tax break. I said, you have no clue. You have not done your homework.
This is, I get this. We have a daughter who is a doctor as well, a very good doctor, although she's a winger. All our kids are wingers. One is not a big Trump fan, but he cannot stand Harris. But so Harris gets no votes out of this family. Trump gets all the votes, I believe. Now, all that said, this is what happens at these universities and colleges. This is what happens in these social clubs. This is what happens. And so it's not that she really knows anything about Harris. It's an impression. It's a feeling. It is a sort of a social way. And see, this is a big problem. And I don't have an answer for it. There are colleges in this country that are very good that don't indoctrinate their kids this way. Hillsdale's one of them. There's others, several others. And so I think you've done a great public service. You're telling people out there, be very, very careful about what college you send your kids to. Because they're going to have control over them 24/7 in the classroom. They will. And they're going to be embarrassed to vote for Trump or something like that. I think the good news is that Harris is so bad. The Democrats have been so bad. The kind of language Obama uses to talk to young black people, which is really outrageous. The stereotype racism about young black people, we're going to get them marijuana, and it's just sickening. I think with all young people, black, white, red, and everything in between, they have to decide if they're looking to buy a home or a townhouse. They can see the consequences of what I call Kamala-omics. Because Kamala-omics is a disaster. But I would just say to your daughter this one thing, vote or no vote, I would say this. If we have socialist health care, all those days and hours and tests, because I know what it takes to be a doctor, not personally, I've seen it with my family member, are going to go to hell. You're going to be a bureaucrat. You're going to wind up being a civil servant. You're going to be worked to death, and you're going to have a salary cap. You won't be able to do as best as you can for your patients, just like do in other socialist countries. And if they do, in fact, put everybody on Medicare, Medicare will collapse, and the elderly in this country, to talk like a Democrat, will starve and die because this medicine and these procedures will not be available to them. Boy, you must have a hell of a good time at Thanksgiving.
It's just, I would love to just laugh right now, but honestly, I voted yesterday early, which was great. My community was out in force, which looks good, but we have to get out there and vote. But my God,
where's your doctor voting? What town?
In New York.
I know,
New York City.
But what part of the city?
Manhattan.
Oh, that's a complete loser. I don't mean the daughter. I mean Manhattan.
Loser.
Yeah.
No, but you bring up the point of socialist.
Listen, you can call me tomorrow. I got to go. It's a hard break, and do call me tomorrow. I can feel your pain and your anguish, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Everything's on the line, and your kid's going to cancel your vote. I get it. We salute armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency. Look, forget all that. If you haven't voted, I don't know what you're waiting for. Vote. Please vote. President has told you. I'm telling you. Everybody's telling you. Don't hold back. See you tomorrow.